You know, that man's a brokey, baby. You a brokey. Like, if all you have to offer is your body, you broke too. And I feel like we live in this prostitution era where I will give you my body because you took me to dinner.
Men lead with their wallet and they're mad that they caught a whore.
Oh,
Sorry, it happens all the time.
This is the longest I've been like this.
what's this? I need clarity.
It's what?
That I've been in a single state of mind.
Like, you're a relationship guy.
Yeah, I'm total.
Are you a faithful relationship guy?
A man know more about being in love than a woman. What benefits do a guy like Paul Pierce get from marriage? What's breaking your...
Listen, we're going to get into this, right? She said that women are basically selling their bodies to these dudes. And so I'm interested in hearing what you all have to say. Welcome to the Home of Dad podcast. And we're going to get into this conversation where Dr. Sarah Fontenot gives a lesson, as they say, about women are now the current real, or considered the real brokies. And so I want to know what your thoughts are as we watch this video. And I'm going to watch it with you. You're going to get my reactions for the first time. And they got pretty excited about what she said, but it's interesting what Paul Pierce is about to communicate. It's the first time that he's had a single state of mind.
neck? So like, all right.
Nah.
Is that breaking your neck?
Nah, that ain't breaking your neck. Nah, that's like a where you just looking next to you. That's breaking your neck. Go home. Bye,
he do
Roger.
this?
Bye, Roger.
So y'all together, he do this?
Oh, yeah.
That's too much.
That's too much.
That's too
Like,
much.
how many seconds he get? What if he do this?
No.
This is to taking over the game. All right, everybody. Welcome to Truth After Dark.
Do you think that men or women are more toxic? Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Truth After Dark with Azar Faraday and Paul Pierce. How you feeling? Good, good, good. Today we have a very special guest with us, an entrepreneur, a speaker, a podcast host of the It's Giving podcast. She is very known for her candid discussions on healing, accountability, and the dynamics of contemporary dating and relationships. Please welcome Dr. Sarah Fontenot.
It's a really dope intro. I didn't know that she was a doctor. Interesting perspective of some of the questions that is going to be given in this particular series of conversation. So I'm interested to see what they have to say and what she's going to say next. Here we go.
Thank you.
I love it. We're really excited to have you. I love your podcast. I love your takes on different things. And I just love how real you are.
Thank you.
And it's funny because today, actually, I saw you go viral on the Baller Alert. Okay.
Girl.
And they were talking about basically how you feel like women who want transactional relationships are brokies.
Yeah.
And I have a viral clip talking about transactional relationships, actually.
Yeah.
So please
Hold on,
explain that.
I didn't hear this. Hold on. Women who want transactional relationships are brokies.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what that means?
No, please break it down.
Transactional mean
You need something to get something.
right. Oh, that's a bar.
Yeah. And I literally talk about this and like, I agree with you. So
What's interesting about Azar is that she did not agree at least about a year ago. She was really more of what most would consider a modern woman. And it was a close friend. I don't know if it was a close friend, but it was someone that was on the podcast that was having to break down that her perspective on what a man is and what a man should be doing and what she should be doing is incorrect. So this new idea that she's currently having, hopefully it's a truthful one, pardon the pun, and not one in which she's just saying it so that she can get a guy. Here we go.
Just break it down a little bit for
Yeah,
us.
so I just feel like a lot of women have audacity because they'll be over here talking about, that man's a brokey, baby, you a brokey. Like if all you have to offer is your body, you broke too. And I feel like we live in this prostitution era where I will give you my body because you took me to dinner. And I just don't subscribe to that whatsoever. But also, I do think that if that's going to be what you're about, because get it how you live it. I'm not here to wrong anybody. If that's what you want to do you, boo. But I will say what's important for me, for the little girls that are looking up to the women that have the Chanel bags and the Bentley trucks and, the Louis Vuitton. And now I have a lot of these things. However, I have businesses, whereas a lot of these other women are laying on their backs. So I just think it's important for them to stop misleading young girls and making them think that this is what I should be shooting for when, baby girl, you don't want nothing to do with this. It's a lot of sweat you don't want to feel.
Woo!
You know what it is? And as a man, this is what I feel like this generation is all about. Since we live in a social media era, females want to show off an image of something they're really not.
Yeah.
So like if a man say, hey, what's up, baby, let's go to Mexico, and he get her Maz bag or woo, and she come back, take flicks with that with some new shoes, and then it look like she's styling and profiling. But really she only got like 2 or 3 of those outfits, and just showing them off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's making her look glamorous for the next dude who she gonna fool
Yep.
Yeah.
to take her on the next trip, and it's just like a cycle now.
Agreed.
It's like a cycle of now it's like a drug dealer. He start off with a nick, he starts selling pounds, now he starts selling kilos.
Yeah.
And it's just like
A cycle.
a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that, guys lead, there are some guys, not all, there are the guys that do lead with money. Their expectation of what type of woman they're getting or would get is very far from what it is that they want. However, for example, Paul Pierce was married. From my estimation, he did not do well by her. But I also don't know the dynamics of the relationship. But I do know that if you're going to lead with money, then you're going to have to continue to do what it is that people do that have money. If that's how she met you, more than likely, that's what she's going to be requiring, but not all the time. Let's continue to listen.
Gonna get it one time, show, make it seem like she cracking, then another dude gonna think she cracking, do the same thing, get more for her.
Yep.
And then it's just like, damn, and now
I get
she
it.
got no substance to herself. It's nothing to her.
In the great words of Nipsey Hussle, you're like a Coke bottle, but the soda's flat.
Ooh.
Okay. And I think that that's what we're seeing a lot. And I feel like there is a lot of modern day prostitution going on. And I've spoke on it. What do you feel about women who feel like first of all, you're a gorgeous woman, you're smart, you're successful. What are your requirements? Like if someone wanted to date you?
Yeah, so first of all, it's an us thing. That makes 2 of us.
Yes,
so thank
thank
you.
you.
But for me, I need what's real. And I think a lot of women get it twisted because they've heard so much on social media that he needs to make 6 figures, 6 feet tall, 6-pack, and 6 inches, right? But the reality is, how does that make you feel? Outside of physicality, that doesn't do anything for you. So for me, I know what I need personally, and I think it's important for all women to get clear on what they need. I need safety, security, respect, emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, openness, and honesty. That's what's most important to me. And I think that a lot of people, because they're looking at,
I got a question for my people. Based on what she is asking and saying that she has, what percentage would you say that men have the thing that she's looking for? Would you say that she wants more? She wants more of the physicality as well as the attributes that she listed, or is she focused on the attributes that she listed? Because, by the way, for those that don't know, she is single. I think she's 40 something. I'll find out.
what can I get from this man? It's this entitlement day age. It's this prostitution era where, did you buy me the bag? Did you get me the shoes? If not, no, you don't get any play. When the truth is, and this is for the men at home that are listening, if a woman wants you to spend all your money on her up front, she like you. Because no woman that likes you is ever going to, like, we are almost like, whoa, hold up, babe, you don't got to do all of that when we really like you. And then also women, you should be looking at a man a little bit crazy if all he wants to do is give you money up front, because now there's an expectation here. He wants a return on his investment. Ooh. So we just got to be real about what it is and what we're signing up for.
Yeah, and that's what I think about this new generation, because when I see about all these cases and stuff going on, like, this is the thing, because this is the thing where we got to realize you can't enter something based on your money.
Facts.
Like, this is the thing, because guys, like, is getting richer than ever. I mean, girls is making money, and they start off like, hey, boom, 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 and then you got to keep that up.
Men lead with their wallet, and they're mad that they caught a whore.
Oh,
sorry, it happens all the time.
Nah, it's
You paying for this woman, it's clear, and then you're upset.
That's exactly what I just said. You're upset when you spend all this money on her and then she acts the way she acts. You're very surprised. What is it that you were looking for? And I think a lot of guys that have not had interactions with women when they were younger in a positive light, once they get older and they have money, they believe that they have to lead with money to show that they are something that they're not. When in actuality, if you would just be who you are, you'll be able to find somebody that's like you or somebody that you like.
Because you're like, oh my God, she's a hoe. Well, that's what you did. You led with your wallet, and now that's who you
because
have.
you caught feelings.
Yeah, you caught feelings.
You met a girl because you on the road, you flew her somewhere, didn't get to know her, it was fun, and then it just turned into, like, what you thought was going to be love turned into a scandal.
It's a scam. It's scamming. There's dating scammers out here. There's a lot of women that don't even eat unless they go on a date with a man.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's brutal.
Let me tell you one story.
Yeah.
I went out on a date with this girl.
Oh.
And it was a good time, boom, boom, boom. She had a little one-bedroom apartment, her kid. Because I asked, like, oh, y'all live here? I got my kid over here, boom, boom. So then we didn't go out again. So until a week later, she was like, this is the next text. She said, when you taking me shopping?
Oof.
That was the next text. And
After one date?
After one date. And I was just like, damn, I was just thinking that too. And never talked to her again.
Period.
That's what I said.
As you should.
Period.
I think that's ridiculous.
That's so ridiculous. How do you have the audacity to ask that, though?
But you know what, though? Women are getting more and more bold.
Yes.
Like, the stories that I'm hearing is like, you think that you met somebody, and then a week later, they're like, oh my God, my tires went flat.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, it's the 9th, and you're talking about your rent.
Yeah.
Your rent was just already paid.
Yeah.
You talking about next month's rent. You know, like, people are just getting more and more bold. And I think it's because we live in this transactional day and age. But I will say this, and I say this all the time. I feel like for a person to ask for something that they're not qualified for is crazy.
Ooh.
Right? And so I
don't understand that. How is somebody qualified for a particular? So, for example, if she has money, she's saying, like, she has money, right? So is she saying that she's qualified to ask the guy that has money for such and such? I don't think that there's a such thing as it relates to if the resources that I have, you don't have, doesn't mean that you don't qualify, right? The qualification comes from what have you done, or what if I like you, or what are you doing for me? How have you helped me be a better person? I think when people get outside of the gospel, this is really what's going on, is that people are trying to date based upon their own idea of what it's supposed to be. When if people would align themselves with the scripture, where it's more of, finding out about that person. Well, scripture doesn't talk about dating, but as far as the characteristics of what a wife are and what the characteristics of a husband are, and begin to deep dive on what that looks like, then they'll be able to have a better understanding of who they are and what it is that they should be looking for. But oftentimes in this current society, such as these people, and I would assume that they're more secular than godly, I'm just taking a stab at it based on how they're communicating, that they're more so aligned with do what what seems to make sense, because qualifications are not based upon resources in my estimation.
Say, in order to see what you believe you deserve and try to be as real with yourself as possible, maybe ask a stranger. I feel like there are 6 pillars to true happiness, true self-love, true self-worth. And that is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and energetically. So what I want people to do, if you're listening to this, is make a bar graph. Make a bar graph of all 6 of those things separately. And on a scale of 1 to 10, rank yourself. You cannot use a 7, and then add all of those numbers up, divide it by 6, that's your average. So now, to be clear, if you ain't been to the gym in a year or 6 months, you are not an 8, okay? Don't give yourself a 6.
Yeah.
If you don't eat right and you don't go to the gym, don't give yourself no 6. If you know you haven't talked to God in 10 years, don't give yourself an 8 or even a 6. If you know, like you know, that you go off when somebody cuts you off in traffic, you go off on Miss Susie at the work office, if you know you have no emotional regulation emotionally, do not give yourself a 6. So when you look at your numbers, you add them up, you divide it by 6 to get your average. If you're a 4 or a 5, stop asking for a 10.
Ooh, that is a bar.
All right, hold on.
But the part is that people are going to have to be honest with themselves. And, hopefully people get an opportunity to hear that part of what she said, kind of write down the elements of who you are, those characteristics, and then not rank them, but kind of rank them, give yourself a score on those. There are different self-assessments out there as well to kind of give you an idea of who you are, and what type of person that would align with you as well. And so once again, those are all good. But if you would go to the Bible and look at, I want to say, is it Galatians 5:22 or Ephesians 5:22, where it's the fruits of the Spirit? What type of fruits of the Spirit do you have? And what's the percentage or what's the score that you have it at, right? And then kind of rank yourself on that and see what you qualify for.
Hold on. I want to do this test.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself the rank.
Come on, let's
Okay,
go.
physical. Start with physical.
Physical, all right. I'll say like physical. I'm
Can't use 7.
7.
Can't use 7.
Can't use 7.
All right, 8.
Okay. We got 8. Look, I'm going to pull my
Spiritual.
calculator out.
Look, okay,
So
spiritual.
spiritual. I'm going to say 8.
Okay.
I mean, I prayed this morning. I prayed last night.
Energetically.
Yeah, energy. Mhm.
Energy.
9.
Okay. Come on,
Mentality. Is that one of them?
Yep.
Okay, mentality.
10.
Oh,
You
I ain't mad at that.
Okay.
10? Mentality?
emotion is which
We got emotionally, physically,
So emotionally
spiritually.
is something different. Like,
yeah. Now
I
emotionally,
don't know how
rank
to
yourself.
range.
yourself.
I don't know how to range emotionally.
Now,
like,
how
'cause
emotionally mature are you?
How emotionally aware and regulated are you?
Yeah.
How emotionally vulnerable are you? How emotionally open are you?
And if you give yourself a 10, you're
5.
lying. Okay.
Okay.
I
that's
can
fair.
go with that.
That's honest. I
Yeah.
can appreciate that.
5.
And then-
spiritually.
No, we did spiritually.
that.
We did emotionally, physically,
Physically,
spiritually.
energy-
Financially.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean, shit, I'm not no billionaire, but I can do what I want.
Well, the top 1% of America is $437,000
Year.
a year. So
Oh.
yeah. So if you're in the top,
What's interesting is that they're not going to question him because it's his show, I'd assume. But my dude, you are not in top shape. My God, that boy said an 8. Okay. Secondly, as it relates to his faith, how could you say because you prayed this morning that means that you have an 8 of faith? Right. So this is what I'm saying again. Like he didn't communicate what faith looks like other than that he does something. Your faith is about what is your relationship with Christ? who do you go to as your source of direction? And if it is, let's say it was Allah, then you would say Allah, but he said he prayed, but who did you pray to? Because if you look at another video with him and Kevin Gates are communicating, it doesn't seem like he's talking about Jesus Christ that some people seems to connect God with whenever they hear somebody say God. But every time you hear the word God, doesn't mean that they are connected to Jesus. And so now hopefully they will come back and do an assessment that they see for him. Here we go.
Top.
He's 10. Give him a 10. Give him a 10 easily there.
Look, I'm just saying, okay,
Yeah.
so 10, this equals 50 divided by 6 equals 8.3.
Okay.
You are an 8. You are more than welcome to have 8. But to be honest, what's funny is because you are a 10 financially, there are so many women that if that's all you had, they think that's enough.
Oh, and he's 6+ feet.
Right.
And you're 10, and he's a celebrity.
Dang.
So, hey, you could have it all. if
Is
you
it
wanted
hard
to.
dating for you?
Yeah,
Okay. I figured so.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So,
This is the longest I've been like this.
What's this? I need clarity.
she's like, well, like this, what?
That I've been in a single state of mind.
Like you're a relationship guy.
Yeah, I'm total.
Are you
I've
a
been-
faithful relationship guy?
That's not a fair question.
Why?
Because
It's a very fair question. Are you faithful? It's not a fair question. You see what I'm saying? Even though he said that he was a person of faith, right? Of spirituality, but he cannot answer the question. That's insane. And women will give him the time of day because why? Because he is a celebrity. He is known to have money, and he's tall, right? And so those attributes does not make him a good catch. But I'm interested in with Dr. Fontenot thought process on what he's saying.
the thing
Why?
about like faithfulness go two ways, and then faithfulness is like what you make it.
Well, I want to get your
Like
opinion.
no, but look.
Okay,
This is
go
the
ahead.
thing. No, this is the thing. Let me finish though.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I've done some things that's you shouldn't do in a relationship.
Okay.
But it wasn't just out of like lust.
Okay.
It was out of lack of what I wasn't getting in a relationship.
You felt
too.
neglect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was like, and it was talked about.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
Meaning you were expressing you were
Yeah,
lacking these things.
sure.
Okay.
but I feel like, and like, cause I've been in a 14, I've been in a 9,
Dang.
and I've been in a 3.
Dang.
So like, I'm pretty having long relationships. It ain't like when I'm in it, I'm in it.
Yeah.
But it's just like stuff be happening. And I really think like sometimes the kids kind of like, it put a like, cause you don't prepare for kids. You know what I'm saying? Cause you like the relationship how it is when you in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you like what you fell in love with. And then kids come, the something else get away of that love because the love spread now to the kid. So now instead of getting 100% of the love, you getting like 50% of it now.
Yeah.
And then another kid come, now you might be getting 20% of it. When you was like, damn, like I was the guy.
Yeah.
And so now I gotta compensate and deal with and it's not wrong because, other love came into the world. But then it messes up your mental like, damn, this is why I fell in love with 100. But now I went from the 100 to the 50 to the 20.
Damn.
It's like, damn, I'm over here like, damn, now I'm over here watching movies by myself.
That is a interesting perspective, right? For women that are, it's you and your man, and then a baby comes into the equation. Now you have to garner a lot of your attention to the child and the raising of the child, and a lot of energy is going towards that. I remember when we had our first child, and I'm so glad and so thankful that we were at the position that we were working. We both worked, and but at the same time, we had her in the summer, so I was kind of I was not really working as much, right? It was, but I was working. It was kind of off and on. And I was trying to make sure that my child was taken care of and I would be a part of the dynamics of raising her, right? And so as I'm raising her, and also the mother is, Jen was also raising her, obviously, but we were able to still connect, whether we were going out to dinner or dating or something to that degree, and then fast forward, here I am, and my children are much older, and me and Kendra, we're still able to go out on dates and still able to connect. So I think that that's a matter of intentionality. But it also is like, okay, what were you doing, uh, Paul Pierce, in the relationship to make sure that your significant other was taken care of and the child was taken care of so that you all could go out and take care of each other?
Now I'm over here on the couch next to the fireplace by myself. Why, that's the reality of it, because if you look at it, all relationships, a lot of times men will tell you that like kids like kind of like put a wedge in between things, because the things you was getting before that, you ain't getting that. Now you ain't coming home to no sex. You ain't coming home to no meal. You ain't coming home. I'm tired. Like and you gotta, as a man, you gotta mentally. It ain't no book on this.
Yeah, you.
Because I didn't see that coming. I just thought like a family would grow us closer, and it's just, you gotta wrap your mind around this is gonna be what it is, but there's no book telling you. There's no movie telling me this. And so it's just like, damn, and then think about this, being a sports player or celebrity or whatever you do, you get all this attention from so many other outlets. And it's like, you ain't getting attention where you want to get it from. It's just like, damn, like I'm getting attention over here. This sound good. This look good. This little shiny thing over here, this is attractive. And it's giving me the attention.
But that goes into what you said, because I heard you say before you feel like weak people cheat.
Yep. I think cheating is weak.
Can you expand on that?
So tell me, how would you deal with that?
Well, I think it's easier when you're a man with resources, because I honestly feel like most times, especially when women become mothers, and also let me just say thank you for your transparency, because I know for a fact that there are so many men that feel the same exact way as you, where you lose your wife or your girl as soon as they have children. Why? Because
Man, I was just watching, me and Kendra was just watching a show on Showtime, Couples Therapy, and there was a couple where the guy had not received intercourse with his wife in years. I don't know how many that is, but years. And he was faithful to her because he believed in being faithful to her. And in the interesting thing was that she wanted kids, and he was like, "How are we gonna have kids? My schedule is this." And then he leaned in to say, "And we don't have intercourse. So how do you?" And he said, "It's been weeks, years, right?" So what does a guy supposed to do? What does a woman supposed to do? But in this situation, it's talking about a man. What does a man supposed to do if he is in a sexless marriage? I wonder about, from the women, do you expect for him to remain faithful to you when you have said no for years? Talk to me.
because they become a whole different person, but they have to. So the old version of them is no longer the version that you'll ever know again, because that person died in pregnancy or in childbirth, right? They're a whole new, they've been born into something all new along with the children. But how do you get through that? Most women are tired because they don't have any help. A lot of the times, people say that I'm pro-man inside of what I say, but I'm just pro-logic. And the truth is, there are a lot of women that are emotionally exhausted because I don't think men take into account the level of emotional labor that goes into running a household. Like, especially of feminine women, because we are so intuitively paying attention to the details and the gaps in the household that we're constantly seeking, what is the need that you have? Well, if we're seeking your needs and now we're seeking the children's needs, and I forget all about my needs, and oh my God, this person has to eat. Hey, these bills over here have to get paid. Oh my God, the house is a mess. Oh, I have this party coming up. Oh my God, I'm still working, if they're even still working, there are so many different things that are put onto a plate where it's just straight overwhelm, right? And so I think that for a couple, number one, you have to understand that your relationship will never look the same. But this is why I believe, and I'm not a mother yet, but when or if that is the decision or the road that we choose to go down, then the truth is I need help. I need all hands on deck. I need a nanny. I need a night nurse. I need help. And it's not to say that they're going to raise.
You don't need a nanny. You don't need a night nurse. That's a lot of extra stuff that she's talking about. You need balance. You need him to come in and help you when you can't. There are so many people that are married that don't have a nanny and don't have a night nurse. Like, when are you gonna be watching the kid? Like, it doesn't even make sense what she just said. If she's trying to pour into her kid, right? So I disagree with that statement. Whether you have money, you don't have money, you need to be taking care of your kid and raising your kid. If you need a day off, which is fine, which makes sense, then you need to ask grandma, grandpa, a friend, a cousin, aunt, uncle. Like, you need to ask some people, could they watch your child, or even just come over and watch your child while you just go in the back and just chill.
My children, but I know women in my family that are like breaking down because they couldn't even take a bath because they couldn't leave their children, right? I know women that are eating the leftover snacks from their kids' lunch, like the crusts from the sandwiches, because they didn't have time to cook anything for themselves because all they're doing is taking care of a child. And I also think for the ladies, you have to accept help. Because sometimes we feel like, no, it's only me. This is my child. And sometimes it's not even your baby anymore. You know, it's not even your husband's kid anymore. This is my kid. I bear this child. I gave birth to this child. I need to take care of this child. No one can take care of this child like me. Okay, I hear that, but you're losing yourself inside of the child. And so that has to be okay to have a conversation around where you don't lose yourself in your children. Take the help. Outsource what you can. Please stop taking exhaustion as a badge of honor. There's no badge of honor for being exhausted, overwhelmed, overstimulated. In fact, you're just mean and surly at the house. We tired of you too, you know? So if you got to learn to outsource certain things, and even if you are a person that you have a tighter budget, right? If you do the math, let's say you spend $20 a day. I think that's pretty, how much you spend a day on food?
Maybe, $20,
30,
$30.
40,
Yeah,
50.
meal prepping and stuff if you're like cooking. But
Yeah, so like $20 is pretty easy to spend, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's $600 a month, right? You could cut it in half, put $300 of that in the stock market so you can actually start to invest in something. Take that other $300, chop that in half, get a housekeeper that can come once a month, and that other $150, go buy some meal prep. You don't even got to prep the meals. So now with $600, you've just released yourself of so many things. Now instead of spending an hour at night cooking in the kitchen, you can freaking sit with your husband and snuggle by this fireplace like you were saying.
All right.
Let me say this.
That was good. Hey, and if you need more ideas, shout out to ChatGPT, bro. It'll help you put some ideas together as well.
No.
Okay, go.
No.
Oh, God.
No.
Well, I just want to say one quick word, though. I want to say this, and then you go ahead. I want to say I love the fact that you said, I'm going to need help, but it doesn't take away from this is my child. I think a lot of women are afraid, like, if I'm accepting all this help, I'm not raising my child.
Right.
And that's not the case.
Right.
You can still raise your child and have help. It's still your child.
Yes.
So I appreciate you saying that, because I think that's the fear of a lot of women. So I just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
All right. So now we're talking about guys in my position.
Yeah.
You're getting all of that.
Yeah.
You're getting a chef. You're getting a house cleaner twice a week. You're getting not maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 men. So why is it that people that provide that in my position, I think the divorce rate is more like 80, 90%. We giving that. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So you said, do all of these things and everything will be cool. Nah, do all those things and things get worse. Because amongst the 1% is a higher percentage than the others.
So I have an answer to that, because I'm talking about what the woman can do for herself and what most people, because the majority of people are not in the 1%, but where a lot of the 1% miss is the emotional connection, the emotional vulnerability, the compassion, that the fact that this woman doesn't feel like herself, her body doesn't do the same things that it used to do. She doesn't even feel sexy anymore in the bedroom. So it's like, are you helping her on this journey to her new self?
Yes.
So it's easy to get rid of those things, but when we're talking about getting out of the things so that woman can have more time and not be as overly stimulated and overwhelmed, now we got to get into the conversation of, how are you making me feel as a woman? Are you getting dismissive because I'm frustrated?
Ooh.
You know, are you now getting what is it when you're annoyed because I'm tired? Or are you the one that's like, baby, I ran you a bath? You know, are you still touching
That's exactly what I asked.
her on the small of her back? Are you depositing money in the sexy bank? Which means if you ain't talked to that girl all day, other than a text message talking about the kids or talking about work or talking about whatever, by the time you come home, you ready to get it. She's at 0, you're at 100. You haven't deposited any money in the bank.
Right.
What do
You know?
You're absolutely right.
She's 100%
Because
right.
that's I threw, back, and you threw back exactly what.
That's 100% where
That's
it's
100%.
like, yeah,
No,
I
that's
agree.
100%. But see, this is the thing. Men have to learn that too, because we we just feel like the kings and everything should run through us, and we don't take into account to where it's like, damn, take back and listen and watch to see like what your woman going through, and like, because I heard that. I heard everything you said, and I didn't get that. And that's why probably mine didn't work. Because
Accountability. He said, I missed the part you just said, which was to recognize the mother of my children needed more than just a nanny. She needed me to be her emotional support. She needed me to let her know that I love her. She needed me to let her know that she was still beautiful. She needed me to let her know that I'm still here, that I don't want nobody else, and to provide her a place to land after she had just done something very hard, which is give birth and now taking care of the child. That's good, Paul.
then it started turning into, it's just everything's about you. Me, you. Like, and I didn't get it at first, but like I started to get it, and those were the things that came up.
And I think that ties into what you said about weak people cheating.
Yeah.
Because if you're really adamant about understanding what's going on within your relationship, then maybe you wouldn't have to outsource and go outside of it. And then,
Instead of leaning into what her needs was, I leaned out.
That's so honest.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And that was my mistake.
Good job.
And I learned from it.
That's so honest.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Instead of leaning, I should have leaned into that.
Thank you for being vulnerable, because men need to hear that.
No, seriously.
And being
I should have leaned into that. But you learn, you learn from it. And, a lot of times we hear their needs and get mad instead of leaning into like acceptance of like, damn, we got to like soften up
Yeah.
and listen instead of like, well, this and that. I do this. Like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I went through.
Yeah. And that is the
I'm getting some
therapy.
therapy.
Yeah. We're getting therapy from the doctor. The doctor said,
Therapy
this
right
is
now.
good, though. It's
It's
good.
so
You
real,
don't
because
know.
people don't understand that, like, that is
You
the
better-
tragic flaw of masculinity and femininity.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, like, men want men out of women,
Ooh.
and women want women out of men. But you don't have a woman, men. You have
I
a,
felt that.
so it's,
That's so good.
you gotta meet them where they're at.
get it now.
Like how you said, you've got to soften up. That means you've got to tap into that other side of you so
Right.
that you can pull her out of it. Because this is what men do. Men run down all of the reasons. Most times, if she's like, I'm tired, I have these kids, my body, and then it's like, well, I got this nanny, and I got this, and I have a chef, and then you start running down the track record.
Because he was ready to run it down.
Well, let me tell you. So when you run down the track record, what happens is women, feminine women. Let me just say, femininity lives in the now. Masculinity lives via track. So instead of me being able to say, baby, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I got these kids, I don't feel sexy anymore, you come home, I want to give you what you want, but you don't, all of these different things. The man says, but I got you the personal trainer, I got you the maids, I got you the nannies, I don't know why you're so tired. And so now what you've actually done is put that woman into her masculine. Now you've expected that feminine woman to be a man, but when she gets into her masculinity is confrontational, and masculine doesn't like masculine. So now y'all are going head and head, bucking back and forth because you're both in the wrong energy.
I need to see you once a week.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because this is great. Yeah, we need to set up some therapy sessions. It's incredible because I love the way you put things, though. You say it so perfectly, and it's like it just makes so much sense.
Thank you.
I love it.
It's important for each other to get each other. You know, in this particular segment, she's just communicating to the reason why a person would cheat is because you're saying I'm not getting what I want or I expect in the current relationship. However, the question is, have you leaned in to find out what it is that is needed for you? Or have you communicated what you need in that relationship? And if so, how was it received? And also, what was said in order for it not to be done, right? So she gave some very good nuggets. Paul Pierce did a really good job of accepting what was said, and hopefully he applies that to as he's trying to move forward into this new era, this new phase of, as he says, singleness, and he's actually being single, and also as he on his own show, he says that he wants to have somebody to settle down with. And if you're just tuning in, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you for being here. Let us know what you think about what's going on thus far. And also, if you want any of the Humble Dad merchandise, the link is in the description, and I'll let you know about that. And Father's Day is coming up, right? So as far as ordering, it's kind of late, but you can always get a late gift for any of the dads that are in your house or around you. Let's press play, and let's see what we got going.
So, question. I've dealt with this in relationships. I heard you speak on this before, and I just want to get your viewpoint. Like, what do you feel about like people closing off, right? Or like Paul talked about this. We did have a therapist on. He spoke about how like in relationships, if he starting to like feel too many things, he'll close off or he'll ignore the person and just not respond. You know what I mean? And I've experienced that too. And I know you spoke about that. And you were saying like the silent treatment and ignoring is a form of just, I don't know if you said abuse necessarily, but it's emotional abuse. And I do feel that way. Because when I was ignored and stuff, like I cried and I was really emotional because I don't like to be ignored.
Emotional abuse is actual like
that's emotional abuse. I would like the doctor to weigh in, please.
Yeah, stonewalling is a form of emotional abuse, because what I've read is that what you're doing is you're trying to be in a power position by saying, I'm not going to talk to you, when the other person is needing for you to do that, right? Or if you go into the verbal assault, that's also a form of emotional abuse. That's why it's important for people to communicate in a way that both people will understand.
I would like the doctor to weigh in. I'm sorry. Let her weigh in. Thank you.
So what I love is
silence is abuse.
Let the doctor weigh in.
It's called stonewalling, actually. So I learned this from Dr. Gottman, and he talks about how there are 4 horsemen where if you see these 4 things in a relationship, you're guaranteed to end. And this study has been going on for longer than 35 years with couples. And he said if you have all 4 of these things consistently in your relationship, he can guarantee down to higher than the 90th percentile whether your relationship will end or not. Like I'm talking 97, 98%, right? And the 4 things are contentment, stonewalling, criticism, and stonewalling, contentment, and deflection, right? Defensiveness. So contentment is where you put yourself above your partner. That's when you start saying, oh, you think you better than they now. Oh, you think you could just get away with that. That's when you literally are kind of condescending. You're being condescending to your partner. Stonewalling is where you shut down. Now, I actually found, because of one of my relationships that I was in, highly effective international speaker. I've been translated in Greek. I've been translated in Spanish. I've spoken all over the world on leadership, self and personal and business development. And highly effective Sarah, okay, me, was in a relationship where that man was so critical and so defensive that I started stonewalling, shutting down. I have nothing to say. I can't win. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. I don't know what to do. And the funny part is, it doesn't usually show up until 2 years into your relationship. And I was in this relationship for 5 months. I was on the fast track to just toxicity. Now I later found out narcissistic personality disorder. You know, that's what my therapist said.
Yeah.
I'm not diagnosing it. But,
Before you go any further.
Yes.
But like, if you feel like there's nothing you can say to this person,
Yeah.
and you stonewall them, then like that goes hand in hand, because I told you how I felt. You don't even get how I felt, because you don't have the compassion to resonate what I'm trying to tell you, what I like or don't like.
Right.
And you just one way or the highway. So that leads to stonewall.
Yes, I agree with you. It's not your fault if you stonewall. Stonewalling it comes because someone else is critical. So that's the third one. They're constantly picking at you. You do this wrong. You don't listen. You. Or it's when they're defensive. If I try to tell you, you know, baby, I was feeling insecure today because you were looking at that lady a little long. Like, do you still love me? Some people that would make you stonewall would be, why are you always worried about me and what I'm looking at other women for? Don't you know I'm here with you right now? I don't even know why you pressing me like this. That's one way to handle it, which will cause someone to shut down. Or
You
if
feel
you
like
be,
somebody lying to you.
that's a little bit different.
Yeah, so like this is my thing. There's also the side of like, what if someone is just not willing to communicate and they're shutting down? And it's like, you're not giving the person an opportunity to be like, hey, this is how I feel. Let's have a mature conversation and come to a place where we can understand each other.
Yeah.
Like, give people a chance,
Yeah.
you know?
I agree with you. And if you don't, it's a sign of emotional abuse, which says that your ego or your feelings are more important than your partner. And if you are more important than your partner, it's not a unit. And if there's not a unit, you're sure to fail. That's why Dr. Gottman says when you have all 4 of these things inside of your relationship, it is a guarantee to fail.
All 4, that's tough.
I mean, but that's reality.
That's toxic.
But you know, the truth is, at some point in every relationship, you will see 1, maybe 2. You'll see them throughout, you know, because we're human at the end of the day. No one is perfect.
But all 4?
You're guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
That's 100% all 4.
Yeah, it ain't.
Come on now.
Now, go ahead. You got something?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you mentioned a narcissistic partner. And I'm curious because I've been in a relationship where I felt this person was narcissistic.
Everybody thinks somebody's narcissistic. Everybody thinks somebody's narcissistic in a relationship. When a narcissist, you'll find out if you read upon, a narcissist is not in as many. There are parts of narcissism that are in people, but everybody is not a narcissist. Okay, here we go. What she got to say?
My therapist said that too. And we did couples therapy, and the therapist told me. But I will say, I know that the word is thrown around, gaslit, narcissism everywhere.
So true.
And I want to get your opinion on, like, how can you spot that in your partner? How can you really know? Like, and how do you know the difference between being love bombed and really feeling like we just have this connection and we're vibing? Like, what is that difference? Because even me, I struggled with that for a while, and I would love to know your opinion on that.
Yeah. So when I was in this relationship, first and foremost, I would say, where were you at when you started your relationship? Because a lot of our relationships started off as a trauma bond, and we didn't even realize it. So if you were in a space where this happened for me in 2023, we thought that we were going to lose my dad. He had stage 4 prostate cancer. He's still here, praise God. But the doctors are pretty much like, things aren't going well, you know? And then on top of that, so mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, energetically, was the hardest year of my entire life, like up to date, you know, at this, today years old, this was the hardest year of my entire life. And I'm definitely a daddy's girl, right? I'm a mommy's girl and a daddy's girl. I'm a family girl,
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
And what I didn't know was in my past, I'm like, who wouldn't want to love bomb me? Like, I never
Yeah.
understood that. Like, certain things when people say like, oh, she's a gold digger, like, but who is mining for rocks? Like, I don't understand that. Or if someone is like, oh, she's a pick me, but like, who doesn't want to be chosen? I don't get it. So the way that people say these words, I was like, I don't get it. So he's love bombing you, but
Yeah.
but when people love you, they buy you gifts. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
They show you love through affection. I don't understand. They
Yeah.
show up and they do all these things, and it's normal. Like, who wouldn't want to love bomb me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty dope. And going back through therapy, I realized that number one, if you are a successful person in anything, I can guarantee you have narcissistic traits. Okay? It is important for you to think that you are important. It is important for you to buy into the vision of your life. It is important for you to go all in and not hear what anybody else has to say.
Facts.
Now, those are just some of the narcissistic traits, but narcissistic personality disorder is when you live in a delusion, when what the world that you see, nobody else sees. And that's when you use tactics like gaslighting to enroll someone else into what you believe, or love bombing to make someone think that you care so much more about them than they really do. But someone that has narcissistic personality disorder, it's all about the conquer. It's about the win. It's not about you. It's how can, and by the way, people think that narcissistic personality disordered people go after like these weak, low self-worth. Oh, no. They go for the highest self-esteemed, self-loving, self-worth people on the planet, because it's like, how bad can I erode this person?
Is that narcissist or is that just a man trait?
No, I don't think that's a man trait. You think men want to erode women?
Well, we lived, there was Vikings.
Yeah.
They lived to like conquer, and that was like the mentality. That's the mentality of like a mammal.
But conquering is
So
different
like,
from.
what is that like? Is that like how is that like a narcissist to me? Because men are here. Men were put on this planet to kind of like rule. Like
Yeah.
they were rulers
As you should.
and conquerors, like just from day one.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah, to be rules, but also to protect women, not to conquer them and make them inferior. That's not what men were designed to do, especially if you're coming from the Bible. Now, if you're somewhere else in another country and another religion, then they look at women a little bit differently. So, just pay attention to what it is that you're watching and listening to.
if we not going for like the highest of the highest, how does that make you like something that's kind of like like narcissist? Like, where did narcissists even come from?
So there's a difference between conquering, because men do conquer. I'm very clear on that.
Just naturally as men,
But that's not what she's
no,
saying.
like you want to
Yeah.
win in sports.
Yes.
You want to teach your kid to be the best in
Yes.
school. You want to be like, that's men, what we try to teach in humanity.
Yeah.
So like, if we just trying to like win and say, hey, damn, she bad right there, I want her, and you get her, and then like you like,
Done.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Like, you're done.
Yeah.
You
Like,
conquered.
but that's just
I'm
like,
complete.
it's like, all right, we
Damn, that's
Vikings,
crazy.
we just cleaned up this village. We mopped them up. All right, that was cool. We own that village now. We gonna go to the next village.
Yep.
That's like always been like, when you look at like African like civilization. I read these books on these like great tribes and great that just conquered villages and then went on to the next.
Yeah.
And that was always from day one, a man's mentality. So now you put it towards like the dating game.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make a man a narcissist then?
So what you're speaking of are just masculine traits.
That's masculine trait, but
That's
that doesn't
different.
make a man a narcissist.
That's not what
No.
she was
And I
saying.
feel like that's thrown around too easily though.
But she's explaining
feel like- okay, yeah,
explaining
go
it
ahead.
to
So someone
us.
that has narcissistic personality disorder doesn't just come to conquer, they want to erode. They want to break down this person. It's
yeah.
not just to
Yes.
get them and smash them and enjoy them, which, by the way, is one of the curses of pretty privilege. A lot of men just want to say they've had you, but not actually keep you and value you. That's a whole other story for a different day. But a lot of men with
Wow.
narcissistic personality disorder, it's a game. It's how much can I take this person who's so strong? How can I make them weak? How can I destroy the way that they look at themselves? Now, this is the craziest part. Most of them don't even know that they're doing it.
Oh,
That's why it is a person.
So just for the record, like narcissism is not just for men. You know what I'm saying? It's not the deodorant, right? Or the hair care product. It is also, that was just for me, right? But just for men, that's a haircut product. But narcissism applies to both genders, not one.
Personality disorder.
damn.
It's not like, oh, let me see how bad I can mess up this person's life. You live in a delusion and you implement all of the things, the people, the places, the experiences, the things that are going to enforce the story that you want to create. And you don't
Wow.
even see it. It's a whole different matrix. It's an inverted matrix.
And that will break you down. Like I've been in that relationship before, and that's like,
So you've been in a narcissist.
yeah. And I didn't realize until I went to therapy, and literally like I felt so bad about myself. And if I would be like, babe, you never tell me I look pretty. I tell you when you look pretty.
Oh,
Like, so that's never. Or
What if he was
just like,
what if he was honest?
well, shit, maybe that's how you felt. Then why are you with somebody who you don't feel is attractive? Why are you looking, if I look in the mirror, why are you looking in the mirror like that? Like just the things, it would be little things that just kept nipping at me like, oh, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
And it just felt like, oh my God, you're breaking me down
Yeah.
to feel like I'm nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because even with my ex, I was with him and I told him, I was like, I want to start a podcast. And he was like, honestly, I don't think you should do a podcast because like someone might ask you a question and sometimes you're not that sharp. And I just don't want you to not know the answer and feel tripped up about it. I just don't think it would be successful.
Yeah.
Like
So
those
what if
are the
that,
things.
but what if that was the truth?
But it wasn't though. That's the problem.
What
I
if he
know
felt it was. Would you should be
didn't
like, you
feel
know
it
what? Maybe I
was.
should read more and get smarter.
no.
but I can relate to that because
Yeah.
the guy that I dated, crazy story.
Like some people can't handle the truth.
No, I
No.
mean that's also true. Some people can't, but
That's
but
true,
some people
but-
really just try to break you down. Like the guy that I dated used to say to me all the time, like, you really think of yourself higher than you are. I'm the highest. Do you hear me? I will never look at myself lowly. This man one time said to me, we went to a comedy show.
I like that attitude.
You know, I don't, and not from a space of arrogance,
Yeah.
but I'm God's child. Like
Hello.
you can't talk to me crazy. I know whose I am, not even just who I am. And we went to a comedy show one time, and
Notice that Paul Pierce did not respond to that statement about I'm God's child. He responded to a lot of the things that he liked about what she said. But when she said that, he did not respond too well. He biting his fingers.
we went to see my friend. He's a really big comedian, and we went to a show. And we were in, I'm gonna use a different state, but it was a state like Wisconsin. We weren't in Wisconsin, but it was a state like that. Right?
Okay.
And well, way blacker.
Okay.
So anyway, one of those types of states. And at the end of the show, a girl comes up to me and she's like, oh my God, you're one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. Like, you're so pretty. And he turned around and he's like, what did she say? And as she was walking away, she said, I said she's one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen. And then she kept walking. And he said, oh, she's probably never been out of Wisconsin.
Yeah. It's that stuff right there.
I was like, he's never pulled a woman like me in his life.
Exactly.
Like, I chose you because I was down, you know? And I had to realize that through therapy. And
What? It could. We don't know that. Well, we only going by what she said. That he said something very bad, negative towards her. But the question is, was he? But she just said something negative about him. That I'm dating you because I'm down, so I'm just giving you the time of day. So she really thinks highly of herself, which is fine. But as she said to her own point, is she delusional about what it is that she brings to the table and who it is that should be, be in her life as her man? Because as I looked, I think she's like 36, 37, no kids. Yes, she's beautiful and she has a lot of things as it relates to wealth the question is, and I don't know if he's asked this yet or is going to ask this question, because once again, I'm watching this as a first reaction, just like you are. So is it them or is it you, that you're not married because you are a beautiful lady and you have all these things as it relates to status, education, and you speak very well. However, what prohibits you from being able to gather a man to ask you to be their wife?
Nothing against him. You know what? Honestly, I really wish that man well and I hope that he's happy. And I'm so grateful from that experience because I learned a lot about my real strength. I learned a lot about people that do try to have like a mental control over you, people that try to erode you. And I realized I'm kind of incorruptible. That relationship lasted 6, 7 months. It felt like 5 years, but I learned so much about myself. I learned that some of the things, that's the first time I ever know myself to be cheated on. I had never been cheated on before. And it's crazy because, I learned that when men come to you, they think that it's done now because I'm gonna get it off my chest. I'm gonna say it like, oh my God, I cheated. Well, okay, your journey is ending, but mine is just beginning. Mine is beginning because now I have to grieve who and how I thought we were. The perception that we had of us inside of public, the way that you have been out here parading me, and now you've disrespected and humiliated me at this level with the woman that you swore you used to talk crazy about this woman, right? And so for me, he taught me a lot of really beautiful lessons, and I'm grateful for that because that's God's way of showing you like no one is above anything. Even though you go through the fire, I won't be burnt, but I might I might come out smelling like smoke, And so I needed that experience because sometimes, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And
You don't need that experience. That doesn't make any sense. There are certain experiences that you do need to chisel you. However, it's an experience that you had, but it's not an experience that you deserve to have. I can't say that someone deserves to be cheated on. That's like saying people deserve to be treated bad so that they can know how to overcome it. They deserve it. Like I can't rock with that. I can say that people will be treated bad and they will have to learn how to deal with that situation. I've been treated bad. People have called me names, and vice versa. I have done people bad. Did they deserve it? I can't say that they always deserved it. So I don't agree with that particular statement. I think that God positions us to encounter different things, but at the end of the day, there are people that make decisions that will affect us, and we have to respond based upon, in my estimation, what is our relationship with Christ like? What is our relationship with Christ like? And that should determine how you, and that it literally will determine how you respond. Because if you don't have a relationship with Christ, then you're going to respond out of the flesh. The scripture says for us to be led by the Spirit and not by the flesh. And if you are an individual that is not in a daily walk with Christ, then you're not going to respond well when that time happens, right? So I'm saying to you and those that are listening, make sure that you get into the Word and find out, the fruits of the Spirit, because God's way of responding to things is way different than what some of these people are saying.
And sometimes I'm yelling at God, like, surely you got the wrong house. Like, this is not for me, nor am I this strong. But I needed that for whatever I needed it for. And now it just puts into perspective higher levels of gratitude for my man, if that were to be a thing.
Big. I love that.
So where are you at in your life as far as like relationships? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? Like where are you at? I feel like you know what you want.
I do.
Like,
Yeah, for
is
sure.
that
Very
is that?
Very
Have you
sure.
ever been married?
I've been engaged twice.
Okay,
And a half
engaged
times.
twice.
Me too. Yeah.
You've been engaged twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that something?
That's not a flex. Why have you been engaged twice and then there is nothing? What was different? Why did you not follow through? Being engaged and then calling off. I don't see how y'all think that's a flex, but that's just my perspective. Tell me why that's a flex, ladies, that you were engaged twice and then follow through.
You're looking forward to, or is
Yeah.
that something you want to do?
If it's right.
If it's right.
I'm not in a rush to do it wrong. And I
Yeah.
think the reason why I've been engaged twice before was because I was in a rush.
So, like, you got engaged, and how long was the first engagement?
Almost 2 years or a year. I was a kid though.
Okay.
My first time I was engaged, I was 18.
Me too.
Yeah, I was a child.
Second one.
Second one, I was in my late 20s. That was a long time ago.
So how long was that engagement?
About a year.
Okay.
And I called it off right before the wedding. I think it was I think it was, I want to say probably June. I'm not great with time, but our wedding was September. Like I had my dress, we had our venue, and
What happened?
What can I ask, or if you don't want to share?
No, I
it's
don't.
fine. Yeah.
It's okay. So the second time that I was engaged, first of all, I never should have dated that man. Never should have dated
Really?
that man. Not to say that there's anything wrong with him. I don't want to just be the person that's bashing people, but I really and truly, when I look at alignment with what I want in my life, and it was actually a mentor that taught me, when you look at your partner and you put on your wife hat, meaning like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to be? How do you want to show up as a wife? Write those things down. And then, can I be this way with him? And that's when I was like, oh,
Wow.
I can't be this man's wife at all. But
Why would you do that to him?
well, he had it coming, to be honest. But that man, it
That's
was
narcissist.
no. Let me tell you.
That narcissist.
Well,
She
damn.
broke up.
Yeah, I did. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, Paul. Because this man,
You're stupid.
I had to learn. This man was in so much competition with me all the time. Like it was like, so at the time I was in the top 3.3% of a $9.8 billion company. Okay, I work hard. I've never been a stranger to working hard. You know,
Same.
like never. I moved to America. I'm like, let's figure it out. I might not come from money, but I come from love. I never came from money, but I built my success, you know? And so I was working hard, and he used to say things. It was really, this was the thing. This was what put it was the last needle on the haystack. This man looked me dead in my face and said, Sarah, you'll never make it. The only way you'd make it is if you married someone who made it.
That's not good.
And in that moment, it wasn't the deceit. It wasn't that he was sneaky. It wasn't any of those things. I was like, oh, it was like, we do not have aligned visions whatsoever. Like you don't even see me for who I have the potential of being. And even if you did, you're trying to dim it down. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. And in that moment, I remember I was leaving, and he was like, if you leave, then because I had kept taking off my ring. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. He's like, if you leave, then you really mean it. I mean it. And when I tell you, I left, I went to a movie. I went to a matinee, actually. I ate popcorn. I chilled. I went back, and I was
yourself?
like, by myself. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not about to be stressed out. I'm not about to be picked on. And I'm for damn sure I'm not going to be with somebody that doesn't see my value as their wife.
It went from love to hate that fast.
No, I didn't hate him. I
Well,
just
it
loved
was
me
like,
enough.
Like you about to get married,
Yeah.
right? And so like the attitude popped off between y'all two, you know, the argument, whatever. Then you did what you did, but like there was like some animosity.
No, I wouldn't even say it
wasn't?
was animosity.
Like how can you go from about to get married,
Yeah.
like that's the top of the love.
But is
like,
it, or is that the top of indoctrination? And that's the thing. That's the point. us as women, our whole lives, we've been taught, get married, start a
Yep.
family, get married, start a family. And if you're not mindful of what you actually need for you, anybody can make you a wife and anybody can give you children as long as they got a good seed. But if I'm after joy, peace, alignment, similar core values, if I'm after the things that matter, then it matters who I put into that place. And so I had to learn, and it took me until I was about 28 years old. I've spent so much money on retreats and healing and learning and all of the things, coaches and therapists and whatever. I had to learn that I was subscribed to the story that I'm just supposed to get married and start a family. And that's why a lot of people are married, but they will never experience what it means to be husband and wife. Because those are two very different things.
That's a fact. I'm just curious too. If she's talking about that, she spends a lot of time with her dad, or she is a daddy's girl. What were the conversations with her dad about her being a wife? Because I believe that her mom and dad are still married, right? She's saying several good things. I think that the challenge that is going on for women um, to be wives is that there's not a representation of what that looks like most women, because and also for most men, especially in the Black community, because there's a lot of single parenting going on. And so, however, she did not come from that. So I'm curious to wonder, how did she pick the person to say yes to twice? She said 18, so I give her a pass on that to a degree, you know. But then when she turns in her 20s, the reason that she gave is a solid reason. What he said, I wonder what was he like prior to that, and I don't. I wonder, did he talk about just wanting to make her a wife and a mother, right? Um, Good men know that their wives are an extension of them and want them to be productive in the area in which they are, area of which they are going to do well at. Like a man doesn't want, a good man doesn't want a wife that's just going to be doing much of nothing. He wants her to uh, be seen, as well as want her to be doing what God has said for her to do. You know, my wife has a makeup school, so check that out, KendraShavon.com, or KSBS Studios. My bad. And it's in Dallas, and check that out. Uh, and I am all for her doing the school because it is a passion of hers, and as well as when she does makeup and when she does hair, it's something that she is a professional at and she's really good at it. I would not want to deter her from doing something that would make her uh, feel accomplished, or even getting to an accomplishment state. So good men want to see their women thrive. So it's unfortunately that she had this experience. Once again, don't forget to like, share, like right now, press the like button. I want you to put a comment. You can do that now as well. And then share it with someone so that the YouTube algorithm sees exactly what it is that is going on over here. And I'm trying to get my watch time up as well. So, don't forget to check out, I put it in the chat. Don't forget to check out Humble Dad Gear, where you can go find some things for the father, the dad in your life, as well as if you're in the DFW area. I am a certified realtor. So if you need somebody to help you with your real estate needs, let me know. Let's get back into it.
That God thing, that's a very different thing than I said I do to you. I got a legal contract with you. If you die, I get half. That's a business contract. That's fine. And that's important. But what is the unwavering, unshakableness that even though, despite what happens, I'll choose you? I got a question for y'all too. I got eaten alive. So I'm going to ask you guys a scenario, okay?
I know what you're gonna ask. Go ahead,
Okay,
please.
here we go.
No, but please go ahead.
This is real because this is what I feel like it's a difference in relationships. So, you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean with your spouse and young child. Your spouse and young child get lodged into the water. They are passed out. They are not able to swim. You can only save one. The other one will die. Who are you saving?
Oh, my wife.
Yeah, he already told me about that. You know, it's hard because I'm not a mother and I don't know what it feels like to be a mother. So I'm like, I don't know, you know, would I be like, these are my children, you know, like I need my children and my children are younger than my husband.
What? Hey, right now, those that are on the live, tell me in the chat, who would you choose, your spouse or your children? Your spouse or your children? You're on a boat, and they are going down. You can only choose one. Who are you choosing?
Right now, if my husband wanted to save me, I know instinctually I would say save my kids. Let me go. Do not take me over these children. These children are young. They have a whole life to live. Don't take me. But it's hard for me because he has children and he's been a husband. I don't know. I'll be honest.
How old is the kid?
Young toddler.
Like that's crazy.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
like
'cause
how
in,
young
like,
is the
'cause-
toddler? Though? Like how young is
Well, that's
the
the thing.
toddler?
All right, let's say the toddler's 3. Because in like 15 years, my toddler gonna be gone. My wife's still gonna be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If the toddler is like 1 or 2,
that's in the
I don't
Bible,
even
though.
know you. You know what I'm saying? I knew this man. I knew this man for 10 years. I barely know this baby. But at the same time, I don't know. It's hard because I don't judge either answer. I just don't know
either.
you know what I mean? I'm just unsure.
Yeah, but a lot of people passionately feel like they don't know their kids, but a lot of
Yeah.
people don't love their spouses.
Ooh.
They are familiar with and they have settled for and they are 50-50 roommates that they sometimes get to have sex with their spouses. But I do not powerfully choose this person as my spouse. I personally believe marriage is very different from husband and wife.
Ooh, that gives me chills. I feel like what you said touched on something very real for me, and it's something I've dealt with, and I know a lot of other
Crazy and not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. That's a pretty dope statement. Marriage and being husband and wife are 2 different things.
women dealt with, especially being in this space where we're talking about these different relationships, and people are like, why aren't you single? Why are you single? Why aren't you married? Why? It's like basically you're not shit because you're not married, you're single, or you don't have this. They devalue you as a woman. And I've learned that, and I feel like I was engaged twice and I was in long relationships my whole life. And I feel like it was because a lot of those relationships I was unhappy, but I was taught from my parents who are still married, you stay. Because it's better to be with someone than to be alone. It's better as a woman to be married with children and have the house and the kids and the picket fence and whatever else. Even if you're unhappy, you need to do that. And that's what I was taught. That's what I saw. And I literally was in relationships way far past the expiration date because I was like, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to do. He wants me. So I would be crazy. Like, oh, he's a successful man. He's handsome. He has money. He has this. You're going to leave him. You know how many people operate from a space of desperation when they give advice?
Yes.
They give you advice from a desperate space because they feel like there's a lack thereof for what they can't get or what they can't have. And it's like you're listening to these people telling you, stay, because I would be so happy if I had a man that looked like that or had that money or did this. And it's like, well, I'm unhappy.
Right.
Like,
They don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not happy.
And you got to make the money to know it's not everything.
Yeah.
To be fair, because a lot of people be like, oh my God, he had this much, but you know how much I've walked away from.
Yes.
That's what's interesting, man. Like, if she's saying that she wasn't happy, like, you're not going to always be happy when you're married. Marriage is not about happiness. It's not about being happy. It's about, based upon the scripture, it's about showing who God is. So there are going to be trials and tribulations in the marriage, in the relationship. And what we know that God is, he's faithful. So I'm supposed to be faithful in the relationship. The spouse and my wife's supposed to be faithful within the relationship. We're supposed to be gentle, kind, loving. And sometimes sometimes we have to be that even in spite of how the other person is being. So it's not about being happy, because the only person that can make you happy is yourself. Your spouse helps you with that, but you are not, your spouse is not the person that makes you happy, because your spouse can do something for you and you not like it, even though they were trying to do something good, and you not be happy. Happiness is an internal thing from my perspective. So when, like, for example, when my kids say that they're bored, well, they're bored because of them, not me. If I take them out and I take them somewhere they don't want to go, then they're still going to be bored and not like it. But if they figure out what it is they want to do, they can do that for an extended amount of time and not be bored. So it's up to them. So we're going to continue this. When I get back, I'm gonna put it in the description, and I'm gonna also link it up so that you can get a part 2. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think or have questions about. Okay. Here we go. Until next time, we are here. Deuces. Let me get to the let's see. Yeah.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.